What's happening, everybody? Alright, it is time for another video. Alright, we're good. Alright, it is time for another pickup delivery vlog. This time it'll be a delivery to the Walmart Distribution Center in Plainview, Texas. We are currently eastbound on US 70. We came out of Clovis, New Mexico. And I'm going to run into I-27 right there in Plainview. I don't know, within the next 15-20 miles or so, whatever. And so I'm a little further out than I might normally be when I start vlogging. For one, because it's not going to be much time spent dealing with traffic lights and stuff. Two,
a recorded message has arrived.
Also, I want to take some time on this video to discuss winter driving, winter trucking specifically, to an extent. I want to make sure I have enough time in here to cover that. If I cover everything and find out I'm a little bit early on getting done before we get there, so be it. I can always cut a little bit of the footage, kind of help keep the footage short for you guys. But all right, so. Anyway, yeah, so load we picked up out of the San Bernardino drop yard. I just barely made that video, the pickup video from the drop yard public this morning. So it's going to be very quickly after that video when this one actually makes it onto the channel, most likely. Alright, so, alright. We'll talk about this Walmart DC when we get closer in, but so first we're going to talk about, because I had some snowy weather on the way out here, and some of the experiences as usual are, it's a good idea to talk about. But now I actually considered taking I-10 across and take I-10 over to Las Cruces, and then go north on 25 for just a few miles, I-25 that is. And then I was going to take US 70 straight across from there, all the way here into Plainview. But that was going to, because I did a 34-hour reset at my house after I picked up the load. And I ended up, it was going to be over like about a 100-mile extra trip to go that way. And now I have a really good friend named Daniel who drives for JCT. My wife likes him too. Well, everybody knows about how my wife is with her Mexican food and how great it is and all that. And she'll bend over backwards to take care of my people who she respects, or she picks my friends up all the time whenever they're in the area. Alright, well, Daniel is under a load going from Lamorna, California to I forget the name of the town in Minnesota. It's north of not St. Paul, there was another St. something up there. It's northwest of St. Paul. I had to look that one up on the map. Anyway, he was going to be going across I-40 to get over there. It was going to take 40 over to US 54, I believe. Now, my wife hooked him up with a bunch of enchiladas. Her Michoacan style, Michoacan Mexico style enchiladas, really, really good, delicious, love them. So I had the option of taking 100-mile extra routes and to stay away from as much snow as I could, or go across I-40 and deal with likely snow, but have a chance to meet up with Daniel, hang out with him for a little bit, and hook him up with some good enchiladas. So I ended up taking the I-40 route. So on the way there, I did, actually it turned out, because the Arizona was starting to clear up by the time I got into the area. yeah, there were some slick spots up near the top of Ash Fork Hill, right before you get into Williams, Arizona. Wasn't too bad though, but otherwise the road was in good shape. And then just after I got past Flagstaff, in between Flag and Winona, there were some definite slick spots there that I had to slow down a little bit for, but it wasn't too bad. It was just not too big an area there, whatever. Maybe a 10-mile or so area, and then I was right back up to speed. And I ended up shutting down in Casablanca, New Mexico. Met up with Daniel there after he caught up with me, and then started running early this morning, around 2 or so in the morning, to come out this way. And usual spots there. I started getting a little bit of snow flurry coming down the hill from where the Loves is at, and west of Albuquerque down into Albuquerque, but then it got dry again. Yeah, the road was fine even when I was seeing the flurries. It was just starting to see a little bit of flurry activity. Then as I was getting up toward the top of Tijeras Pass, which is the uphill grade going east from Albuquerque, as I got closer to the summit there, I was definitely getting a little more icy. Not really that bad, actually, surprisingly, with the reputation that New Mexico tends to have with keeping the roads maintained. Not exactly the greatest. I was getting snowed on in spots, and then, or just had snow-covered roads, or partially plowed or whatever roads most of the way, all the way to Santa Rosa from there. And also had same kind of similar activity on US 84 coming down from Santa Rosa down to Fort Sumner, heading toward Clovis. I would have had more of the same, but I stopped for a couple hours for a nap and a 2-hour split, whatever, to set up an 8-2 split before I got into Clovis. Well, anyway, it never fails. Whenever I'm going across I-40 in those conditions, there are always people doing 15 to 20 miles an hour. Guys, if you're going to be doing 15 to 20 miles an hour on those kind of road conditions, just park your rig, alright? You're not doing yourself any good. You're burning a lot of extra. You burn 3 times more drive clock at the minimum by doing that than you will if you're able to run at full speed. And if you're going to burn that much of your drive clock, it's a better chance that, or it's not a guarantee it's going to happen, but there's a possibility if you're doing that, you might end up you're not going to make any difference on how many 10-hour breaks you're going to need. If you have traffic delays, you have traffic delays. I mean, if you're not concerned about safety, now you have a valid reason to be concerned, but if you're that concerned about safety that you're going to drive that slow, like I say, you're better off just park your rig, tell your dispatch it's not safe to proceed, or the conditions are beyond my skill level, or my perceived safety level, whatever. This guy sped back up now and he saw me catching up to him. Now, they won't hold it against you if they're a reputable company. So don't hesitate to get off the road if that's all you're going to do is 20 miles. Actually, you're more of a hazard by going that speed, because most of the drivers with experience are going to be doing at least 30, maybe even 40, maybe even 50 in those conditions. Just depends on what the road conditions are like. Have they been salted? Have they been plowed? How heavily is it snowing? And then there are other little telltale indicators that you might be able to tell as well, like is there snow or rain splashing up from your tires, getting sprayed outward as you're driving. That's one of the other telltale indicators that we use. Look at the front of your mirrors here. Do you see ice building up on there? If so, then there's a better chance that you're going to have slick conditions. Another one that I use a lot is, do you see anybody else sliding off the road? Now, usually you're going to see the four-wheelers going off the road first, but if you see trucks going off the road, it's even more concerning, because I've had times where I see the cars, the four-wheelers going off the road first, and no trucks at all. And I've also had times where I see just nut-to-butt trucks and hotshot drivers in the median, or off in the ditches, or jackknife, or whatever else. So if you don't see any of that going on, like last night, early this morning, whatever, when I was going across 40, that guy's doing 20, 25 miles an hour, whatever. Now what happens when someone like me comes up doing 45? Now the speed difference between us is too great. That's, me personally, I'm sensible enough where I'm going to slow down enough where I decrease the speed difference while I'm passing you. But once I get past you, I'm going to get back up to what speed I want to be going in that condition. But you're always going to have someone who's not going to be so sensible, and then maybe you got someone riding your ass like I had earlier. Even though I was doing like 45, 50 in one spot there, I had one guy with one headlight. The one headlight was a high beam. Now he had no headlight, no marker lights, anything on the right corner of his tractor, so, and he was riding my ass. So even after I passed him up, I thought he was, I thought he had moved over, because I was busy looking ahead, watching for changes in the road texture and all that. I couldn't tell if he had moved, changed lanes to get back behind me for whatever stupid reason. All I saw was one headlight. So I thought that was his passenger side headlight that I was seeing, and it was in high beam mode on top of that, so it was pissing me off. And he was tailgating me after I got around him, or at least it seemed like he was, but... And then I find out later on he wasn't actually tailgating me, he was in the other lane, but as soon as I get by him, he's doing the same speed as me, not giving me space to come back over. The guy was a complete moron. And even then, there were times where he backed off, whatever, and then he would come up, be right on my ass in these kind of conditions. What do you think's going to happen if my truck does? If I stupidly do something that causes me to jackknife or run off the or have to deal with someone else maybe coming across the median from the other side because they're out of control, and now I have to slam my brakes or slow as carefully as I can, and against some stupid idiot like him doing that kind of shit, I'm going to get rear-ended. And there's no way you can stop, you can avoid running into the back of me in that kind of a situation. And this is what kind of stupid people we have out here in those kind of conditions. Say what you will about someone doing 45, 50 in those kind of conditions as well, but again, there are a lot of telltale indicators. If I ran all the way from Tijeras all the way to Santa Rosa, it's about a 100-mile trip. Not quite a 100-mile trip. Did not see one single vehicle anywhere off the road or in the median or whatever, needing help getting unstuck or crashed or whatever. It's a telltale sign that the roads might look ugly but might not be in as bad shape as they look. My first time ever driving in Wyoming on my trainer's truck, this was in March, and there were snow, ice, whatever you want to call it, covered roadway there. And I go through CDL school and I get taught don't go more than about 30, maybe 40 miles an hour tops in those kind of conditions. And then here my trainer's doing 50, 55 or whatever. My trainer had about 20 years of experience, and he's been across Wyoming countless times over the time. And it was like, holy shit, this guy's going this fast in these conditions, but the thing was, he knew things I didn't. What is this guy doing? Is this guy intentionally backing up, or did he? Yeah, he had to have backed up intentionally, but just what he was doing there had me wondering what was going on there. All right, now it looked like he's coming up to his mailbox. I'm going to stay as far over as I can and slow down. See, if I lose control or he just suddenly decides to do something stupid, I want to be able to react safely to it. So, anyway, yeah, it can be a frightening experience for a brand new trucker driving on roads like that that look like they're icy and watching a bunch of everybody on the road doing 55, 60-ish or whatever. And here you are trying to stick to what you were taught in CDL school or something. Yeah, so, and, you know, going slow also does you no good as well in another way. I've had times where I'm going across 40 and that same stretch there in between Santa Rosa and Moriarty or Tijeras. And around the 250 mile marker, for example, there is a rest area. I've had a time there where I got stuck there at a dead stop. Not really because of an accident. Well, there was a FedEx that actually crossed over from the eastbound side, went across the westbound side. It ended up off the right side of the westbound lanes. But it was not a factor, though, for those of us who were heading west. The problem was the truckers who were doing 5 to 15 miles an hour because they were so terrified about driving in these conditions. Now they have to go up an uphill grade right there by that rest area, and they don't have enough momentum to get up the slick, and the road was slick. So they didn't have enough momentum to get up the hill, so what happens is they get stuck. Someone else tries to slowly go around them on the other lane. Now they get stuck too. Now the road is shut down because nobody can make it up the hill because the road is too slick. We're getting into the west end of the Plainview area now. We got I-27 coming up ahead. So you trust me, you're not doing any good by driving that kind of speed. Just get off the road, all right? Don't drive don't drive that kind of speed in those conditions. If you're in those conditions and you feel like you have to drive that speed, get off the road. And it's safer to do that for everybody, and it's better on your 70-hour clock and on your 11-hour clock as well. Now we're gonna head north on I-27. Before I talk about the customer here, I've been to numerous times, by the way. I do want to point out to if you guys have experience that I didn't talk about here, there might be stuff I know but just didn't bring up, or maybe you have, because I'm not going to say I'm the most experienced ice trucker, whatever, icy road or winter driving trucker in the world. There could be stuff I don't know that maybe you have some other way to do things that works just as well. That's worth mentioning. Go ahead, add it in the comments. And speaking of, we have a driver at JCT, if you guys are not familiar with him, by the name of Larry Miles. Larry, you will never meet a guy who has more years of experience or more miles of experience as him. Larry has been driving since around 1959. He's coming up on age 80, getting pretty close to age 80 now. He's got over 10 million verified miles. You won't find anybody with more miles than him, I'm pretty sure of. Well, anyway, he works in our safety office. He's he also, now if you come to JCT and get hired by JCT, you're going to meet him. You're probably going to even get a road eval by him during your orientation. A road eval and vacuum eval, whatever. He does a lot of those as well. So you'll almost certainly meet him if you come and drive for JCT and go through our orientation. Now I've heard him tell me a couple of times, one of the tips for, by the way, real quick here, Because if you're coming to the Walmart DC, it's very common for drivers to get off here at exit 50, this Highway 194, if I'm not mistaken. I don't personally go that way. I use Quincy Road or whatever, Quincy Avenue. I can't remember that street. It's like exit 52 or something like that. That's the one I use. We'll see that there. But all right, Larry though, he's got tons of experience ice road trekking in Alaska or going across Canada. No, Quincy Street. Okay, exit 51. Now, you know, he's been there and done that numerous times driving in icy conditions, and he was telling me, I heard him say it before, and actually when I was just at the yard last week, I was talking to him for probably a good hour. You know, he was having his lunch, we were hanging out in the break room, just shooting a breeze, and he was talking about how one of the tips on how to deal with, like if you start sliding at all, one of the ways you can do that, correct for that, if you have a manual transmission truck, just press the clutch pedal in, and it's kind of like going into neutral, but not actually losing, not coming out of gear. Just going into neutral, and the truck will kind of free roll, whatever, and it should kind of recover that way. Right? Any kind of axle skid you get. If you're in an auto shift truck, he has suggested put it in neutral, and it does the same thing as pushing the clutch in. Now, there are going to be some people who might have different thoughts on that, I'm sure. That's just one method to do it. Now, we're going to make the right turn right here. But, again, this guy has 10 million miles, tons of ice and snow driving time. All right, another thing here, turns. It's really slow, but if you're in a slushy, snowy, snow-covered road, you also don't want to go so slow that you lose momentum and can't maintain your momentum through there. But you don't want to spin out either. All right, this is going to be a drop hook delivery. It's right down the street from the guard shack. We're going to be making a right turn into the driveway, just a short distance from here. All right. Now, when I spent time as a trainer, and also though with the ice driving, snowy driving, because no matter who you are, there's a decent chance you're going to spend at least some time in your trucking career driving in snowy conditions or icy roads, whatever. And you could lose control of your truck. It could be rainy roads, or it could be icy or snowy, whatever the case might be. But whatever, you could end up with a steer axle skid, a drive axle skid, and or a trailer axle skid. And it really behooves you to know how to effectively deal with any of those kinds of skids. I know that the CDL school that I went to, it's here in England, teaches that. Alright, OTR is right lane. They teach that in the CDL school, but every time I had a trainee get on my truck who I know went through the same school and got taught the same stuff, I would ask them, on their first day of driving, how do you deal with this or that kind of axle skid? I want you to be sure exactly how to do it. I don't want you having to guess at how to deal with these kind of a problem when they come up. You need to know, like the back of your hand knowledge, how to deal with this kind of a problem. All right, Ryvek consignee. Let me get checked in here and we'll continue this conversation on the way into the drop spot. Alright guys, we're all checked in. We're going to go drop our loaded trailer in the same row you see the shag driver in right now. Any spot over there is where we're going to drop it. Now, typically drivers might go out past and then turn back around and come back to set up a regular side. Again, this is where he's one of these situations here where a U-turn style setup will save you time, and the U-turn setups are very easy to do as well. Let's figure out where. How about right here, maybe next to this old domain? Oh no, we'll go a little further down, I guess. Put it by all the reefer trailers. See, there's one over here I can drop by. It's gonna drop right here, but I want to get out of the way of the shag driver first. Okay, look like we got one right here next to this other JC 7222. That's the same trailer I was originally supposed to look for. Double check which way this guy's going. Alright, yeah, he's going the other way. Alright. As soon as I'm one spot past, that's when I'm I want to see the trailer on the other side of Saya. As soon as I see the front end, see that Walmart trailer over there. Maybe a little bit more. Alright. As soon as I see the other end of that Saya trailer, the Walmart trailer over there, I can start following it back in. So I actually got a little overly concerned about getting too close to Saya, that I overcompensated and let it angle too much toward JCT, but I don't really care because get the trailer in there safely first. Alright, actually I forgot with my video editing process, I don't have to move the view around a lot. There we go. So I can just, because I notice every time I switch my view, I'll get a blue screen for a brief moment, and then it does show up in the footage. So until I can actually get my my Eagle Eye hooked back up and working, so I have the front view and I don't have to move back and forth with my my camera, my V-Sisto system. We're gonna kind of have that a little bit going on there. The power cord for it is on. They did ship it. It just didn't show up by the time I was done with my 34. So next time I get home, it'll hopefully be there, and by then, hopefully it'll be back to normal, having all these views and working like normal. All right, let me get disconnected here, and we'll go find ourselves an empty. Okay, Kingpin is fifth wheel is released. Drop my airbags. Gently let the trailer down. Watching my gauge there. Yeah, we're good. Now we're gonna go find ourselves an empty trailer. You can either turn that direction and go around the warehouse, or come this. I usually come this way myself. So right where you see that that Walmart driver, where they just turned right to our left, we can go that same way he went. Let's see. The snow drift here is going to kind of affect which way how I do this, so. Alright, going back to that though, with what I was talking about earlier with Axel's kids. Guys, if you're not in CDL school yet and you're going to be in CDL school, pay attention to that, alright? Very important. Because you don't want to have, you don't want to lose control of your truck and not have a really good idea or have it embedded in your brain like first-hand knowledge, like back-of-your-hand knowledge. Come on, dude, what are you doing? Don't want to like you want to have it in like first-hand, back-of-your-hand knowledge. What, dude? What are you doing? I'm not gonna play guessing games of what you're doing. I think he was just waiting on the Bobcat driver or something. I don't know. Or yeah, he's wanting to go the same direction I'm wanting to go too. So I was gonna go around the other way. There is another. There's this road coming up here. Yeah, these trailers facing right at us. It's pretty common to find empties right there. Oops. I guess I should. I see what I mean about having to interact with these this computer, this camera. I forgot to switch it back to the front view because I'm used to doing all that during the video editing process, and all the camera's always recording. So I apologize. I just gave you nothing but right side left and right camera views, and that's it there for a while there. So you might not have the greatest idea where the hell there's a JCT right here. Let's find out what's kind of shape it's in. We got a winner here. How's full tank of fuel? Just needs a washout. Alright, Walmart is trying to do a jackknife backing into that spot right there. He's doing a straight up alley dock backing. Okay, that trailer looks like it's sitting a little too high. So I'm going to raise my airbags up. Yeah, I don't have any weight at all on my... yeah, now I got weight on my gauge. I wasn't getting any indication at all yet, and that was a good, big, huge clue to me that I'm not hooked up, that I'm, my fifth wheel wasn't actually actually contacting the apron. Alright. We're good there. Not a lot of room to work with there, so I'll probably just hook it up and then double check my lights. It's a pain in the ass. There's not enough really room to work on to move on the right side of the trailer, and I had to duck underneath the door on this trailer to my left just to even get to the back and inspect the back end of it. So. Yeah, well, I'll just get hooked up and do some of this inspection elsewhere. Alright guys, I'm at least hooked up. Got landing gear up and all that. I'm going to pull it out of the spot. Gotta watch that tail swing. I want to come out as far as I can. As close as that was to another trailer there, that Legend trailer. It wasn't going to take much tail swing to hit it, so I wanted to make sure I was all the way out of there, if possible. Alright, now we're kind of out of the way just a little bit. Let me do a quick little light check before head out, and also get a better look at the tires and stuff on the right side that I couldn't get to earlier. Alright, we are good to go there. Oops. Oh, I'm gonna get movement. Traction control. That's what it is. I gotta turn off traction control. It's not letting me move. I'm getting just a little bit of spin on my drive tires, and the traction control's not letting me do it. I'm gonna go ahead and activate my interaxle diff. Wait on this Love's driver to go by. So looks like we picked a bad spot to start moving. So gotta back up a little bit. Alright, we should be alright with the AT. I can turn the traction control back on. Okay, now I don't know how long this trailer's been sitting here. Ah, shit. I was going to use that snow scraper. Okay, I think right in front of me. I wanted to use it just in case there's snow built up on my windshield. I mean, not on my windshield, but on the top of my trailer. But if the Bobcat's going to be parked underneath it, I can't use it. And I need to enter it that direction as well. So, I don't know why they're doing that. It's kind of hard to use it if they're not going to let me use it. And it actually is a driver's responsibility in a way to make sure there's no snow or ice build up, whatever that can fall off the trailer while in transit, and that can cause damage to someone else's vehicle, or people have even got sent to the hospital or morgue over ice and snow, whatever, that came off the top of a trailer before. Right turn only. Okay, so they changed this. Yeah, it used to be we could go that way and then kind of make a U-turn type of thing, but looked like they somebody must have caused a problem at some point in time. Maybe hitting a trailer, or had some kind of a problem making a U-turn or something, so they can line up with the guard check on the way out. I don't know. It's I guess in a way it makes sense to do this. Call from a Coulterville, California number. Nope. Probably don't know you. Probably don't have a reason to be calling me. A good reason. Alright, we will go up to the second stop sign there, and then they'll just check the trailer, make sure it's empty and all that, and we'll head out. Okay, should be pretty quick and easy. Let me go on duty if this slow thing will ever let me. Alright guys, time to get out of here. Alright. So 90% of the time when I come here, I end up deadheading up to either the JBS beef plant in Cactus, Texas, which is about an hour drive north of Amarillo. Or I go to the Tyson facility in Amarillo. Make sure you're turning right. Just want to be sure. Alright, yeah. Now I had one time where they deadheaded me all the way up to Enid, Oklahoma to pick up a Tyson load up there. This time around, we'll actually be going elsewhere to Guymon, Oklahoma. To with a Seaboard Foods processing plant. I think that's what it's called. I've never been to this shipper before. I don't know anything about them really, except for I've kind of heard telltale stuff from other drivers who have been there. Generally, they seem to not like it there, but my understanding is my load will be ready for me to pick up by the time I get up there. It's about a 200-mile trip from here to there. It's going to go straight up I-27. It'll take me right about an hour drive, roughly, from here to Amarillo. and then another hour to Cactus, and then another perhaps half hour past that to Stratford, Texas,
You have 4 hours and 19 minutes left.
where US 54 and 287 meet up. And then I'll go east on 54. That'll get me up to Guyman. The shipper's right off of 54. I'm not familiar with the shipper in any way, so I've never been to that particular customer or that location. Let's do it. He's not going that fast. Alright, so we're going to get on 27 North here, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I think there was plenty here that was talked about. Again, theme of this video was largely on winter driving and being safe and all that. Don't get yourself stuck in ditches, but also know how to unfuck yourself if you do make the mistake of fucking yourself and losing control of your truck. I guess one last thing on that. Don't white knuckle either when you're in those conditions. I have a good example at a trainee. When I ran on the Walmart fleet, this trainee was actually from Springville, Utah, or Provo, Utah area. They get plenty of snow there. Well, we ended up delivering to the Sam's Club in Provo, and then we started heading up to, I believe, the Salt Lake City Sam's Club store. Well, we had snow-covered, I-15 was snow-covered, not snowing, but it was snow-covered. Never got plowed yet or anything. We had recent snow going all the way across the interstate. This trainee, I remember, she got so freaked out by having to drive in those conditions that she was like white-knuckling the steering wheel, and even to the point where she was crying. And yeah, this is the reality of what you have to deal with sometimes as a trucker. You know, you cannot, and don't be afraid of this stuff. You know, a lack of confidence will actually, you know, it'll put you in a fight or flight mode and actually make you overreact to stuff and actually make your problem even worse when you get into that kind of situation. Just relax. I mean, it's okay to be a little bit more firm and be ready for stuff, but don't sit there and like hope you guys enjoyed that view, by the way. Those of you guys who stuck around for the end, hopefully got even a laugh at the face I made there. I hope. Please tell me you did. But yeah, you can actually cause more problems there, and you're more likely to be the one who panics and hits the brakes and makes your problem even worse if you do that kind of thing. All right. So, all right, that's enough said on that topic there. This is plenty of footage here for you guys to enjoy. So, we'll have another video for you guys hopefully tomorrow. I'll be picking it up today, but hopefully you guys will see it the day after you see this one. The pickup at Seaboard Foods in Guyman, Oklahoma. All right. We'll talk more on that one on that video. All right. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you then.